It is the Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. I'll get all the blocking and tackling out of the way. Click the like and subscribe button. That helps us out. If you click the notification button, it will let you know every single time one of these is posted. I'm not sure yet if somebody's going to be filling in for me after Monday. They said they're looking at it now, so it may just be a hiatus, and then I come back when I'm available to talk, as I'm having throat surgery for sleep apnea on Monday. So I know you guys are the ones that come back every week or every day. You're probably tired of hearing it, but just letting new people know, like, oh, he didn't just disappear. After I post these, after I send these off, it gets edited, and then I'll post my weather algorithm results in the morning. So if you guys check in and you don't see it, come back, because I've been doing it every day. And I do think there's some distinct advantages in there. Over the weekend, not so much. Yesterday, my top plays were the Orioles over. Talked a little bit about that game on this podcast, and I also talked about it on the morning show that if you guys haven't heard me talk about it, every June 28th is Mo Gabba Day for the Orioles. Mo Gabba was a kid that called my radio show that had cancer 4 times. He's been blind since birth, and he passed away at the age of 14. I told people to go on YouTube. If you're on here right now, look up Gift of Gabba. It's 14 and a half minutes, and you'll hear the story of the most amazing little man that you've ever heard. He's just so positive for a kid that had so many things dealt just wrong to him. I mean, he just got dealt a bad hand. And the Orioles are undefeated on Mo Gabba Day. They do not lose. I know it sounds... I mean, we even had this situation. Mo became friends with Trey Mancini, the former Orioles first baseman, who got colon cancer, and the first person that called him was Mo to wish him well, even though Mo's cancer, I don't know if it was terminal at that point, but it became terminal. But anyway, I'll get into the weeds talking about this. This is my favorite thing to talk about. But it won a couple of sports Emmys, and to tell you how great the Gift of Gabba is, it beat Kobe Bryant posthumously as well. So the Kobe Bryant piece that was done by ESPN lost out to the NFL Network's piece on Mo Gabba because, again, the story is just that amazing. He's, if you look at the end zone, if you play Madden and you play in the Ravens Stadium, you'll see Baltimore, the MO is a different color for Mo in Baltimore. And the Ravens are continuing that on even after he passed, so it's kind of cool there. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's in the Orioles Hall of Fame. I got to induct him, which was awesome. But yeah, so again, it was just kind of a cool day, like looking at the Orioles who aren't playing all that great, and they're going to make a bunch of trades. One shining moment there. The pisser of that game is I had Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 bases, and Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday, I think, were the only two that didn't get over 2 bases in that game. Frustrating. And watching that game, he got called out on one of the worst strike calls I think I've seen on a check swing. It's like nowhere near going around. And then we had the ump in the Orioles game yesterday that had the worst ball strike call all season, as Zach Eflin threw a ball that they said was about 1.5 or 2 inches away from being dead center of the plate. And for it to be a ball, it needed to be 9 inches to the right. The ump missed it by 9 inches. It's just insane the way things have gone. If we don't need automated balls and strikes now, I don't know when we're going to need them. A couple other things to point out. Talking about how I did yesterday. I ended up I hit my triple play. I had an okay day. The WNBA wasn't kind to me, but it was nice to be on the winning side there. So I was happy about that, and try to build this thing back up and create some more winning streaks, because it started off hot. Last week wasn't the kindest to me, but I just keep plugging away. So, yeah. And then with today's games, or yesterday's games, because I'm recording this on Tuesday, I think it's imperative that you look at some of the other spots and things that kind of map out. And one of the things I was looking at, I was back to the Braves over in Kansas City. I've talked about this numerous times. I even mentioned it on yesterday's show as a free play. I target guys after they throw no-hitters or complete games, because those are anomalies in today's game. And coming back the next start, guys tend to struggle. And you can look at the most recent 3 that I can think of, or recent 2, I should say. We had Christopher Sanchez against the Phillies, or for the Phillies against the White Sox. He had just thrown a complete game. He gave up a home run late, but he did pitch a complete game, and he came out against the White Sox and gave up 4 runs, and the Phillies lost outright. Brian Wu threw almost a perfect game against the Yankees well into the 9th. He came out in his next start and gave up 6 runs. I am definitely targeting Nick Lodolo. So I like the Dodgers. I like their bats. I like the over. a lot there. A couple underplays that stood out. I like the Angels, and I like the under in the Giants game. We talked about that. That was all for Tuesday. So just a couple of things to point out there. I always like to tell you what I'm thinking and where I'm going with my bets. In the WNBA, I think I went with, I know I went with the under in the Mystics game. And I also went with the home dog with the LA Sparks, thinking they could pull off the upset against Vegas. Now, let's get into today's games so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Blue Jays at the Orioles. This is an early start. It feels like it's 103 degrees outside. And that's what they're saying with the projections. It is really hot. It is really humid. Wind is out at about 5 miles an hour. I'm still going to tell you to take the under here. It's Jose Barrios and Dean Kramer. I've talked about it. Kramer wasn't brilliant in his last start, but he's been amazing since April. And I think both of these teams can keep the opposing team at bay. And I'm going to take my chance on an afternoon with the shadows, two good pitchers, even though it's hot as hell, on these guys keeping runners off the base paths. And I will tell you to lean towards the under there. The next game I wanted to get into is Cubs and Brewers. So I am going to bring up the wind and the weather. It's 70 degrees. They always say between 65 and 80 degrees they'll open the dome. So I don't know if they will, but if the dome should be open, wind is moving left to right at about 12 miles an hour. I would double check that on game day just because if that wind shifts just a little bit, and who knows if it'll shift because of the dome, whatever, it's blowing left to right, that could easily be out to right if things switch up just a little bit. So I would check that on game day to see what they're saying. But right now, left to right, it's not really a help to anything. It could make fly balls a little bit more difficult. But that is a game where we have some really good pitching today. It's Shota Imanaga versus Freddie Peralta. And both of these guys, I love Peralta at home. I'm probably going to check out his K-prop. I can't guarantee I'm going to be on it, but I will take a look at it. I love the way Shota Imanaga pitches. And again, he's one of those guys I like to bet on at home. He just got touched up in his last start. Lefty against the Brewers. I'm okay with it. I'm going to lean under here. Again, I like the pitching matchup, and I don't think the conditions are going to favor anybody greatly to really say you got to go this way or that way. The Dodgers and the Nats are the next game that I wanted to talk about. It's 90 degrees. It's humid. There's no wind help. It's like a couple miles an hour out. Nothing major. Shohei Ohtani versus Nick Martinez. I want to be on the over here. The humidity in Cincinnati gets crazy the same way it does in Baltimore. And if you look at the situation we have, we know Shohei Ohtani's not pitching deep into the game. He might be up to 3 innings now. Maybe he goes 4, depending on how quickly he gets through. He has given up runs in almost every outing he's had. I'm not saying he's going to get blown up or anything, but depending on who they bring in after him, if it's Kasparian or Kasparian, whatever that kid's name is, or another long reliever, we can look at that. And Nick Martinez against the Dodgers, yes, please. I think the Dodgers should beat him up. And I think the over is a very interesting play here with the humidity. Before we get to the last game, and a game that I really like, and it will be my free play, in Philadelphia and Chicago with the White Sox, the wind is at 10 miles an hour. I told you I would try to let you know whether or not I can, if the wind's blowing out in certain situations, and I will come back and reiterate this. I want to find out. Come on. Of course, my phone would freeze here as I wrote this down, and I forgot to write the direction it's going. All right, so it's blowing from left to right, like kind of out to right field, and it's showing 10 to 11 miles an hour all the way up to 12.5 by the end of the game. This is what's projected. So, yeah, I think it's another spot that you can really look at the over there. I did not make this a play, but with the wind and the humidity that's going to be there, there's a light drizzle. Looks like an interesting spot to me. But, again, not one of my plays, not one of the leans. I just wanted to bring it up. I always try to tell you if there's something going on with either rain affecting a game or if the wind is going to affect it. But this last game, it's a spot I like to go to, and they've been a great under team for me. Let's go to Pittsburgh and San Francisco. As I've said, the weather in San Francisco is drunk. It's 60 degrees at the end of July there. And this is an afternoon game, if I remember correctly. Wind is out at about 8 miles an hour. As I've said before, wind doesn't matter unless we get up towards 15, 20 miles an hour in San Francisco. It just does not have the same effect. Mike Burrows versus Logan Webb. Logan Webb, he's a pitcher's pitcher. He just gets it done. The guy is fantastic. Same thing with Mike Burrows. I think he's been good this year. There are times where, I don't expect big strikeout numbers or anything, but I do think with the conditions that he can still keep the San Francisco team at bay. But mainly here, I'm looking at the conditions in Logan Webb. And my free play is going to be on the under. I think the under is a very, very solid play. All right, this is a little bit of a shorter one, guys. I know on Thursday it's going to be like there's only a handful of games. There is some football that's back, so we'll get into some of that before I end up taking my prolonged break. But I want to tell everybody, make sure you're checking out the premium plays over at Pickdawgz. I do, kind of my write-ups. Usually I have a triple play every day. Sometimes I'll have two, depending on how many WNBA games there are. But my triple play is usually my 3 favorite totals on the day. I find the best either hitting or pitching situations. And you'll see my weather play of the day, my 5-star play, and my personal favorite. Those are kind of usually the 3 that end up in there. If there's another game that I see, I'd been doing a bombs away play where I thought there would be a ton of home runs for great home run hitting weather. We might get back to that when I find the right matchups, but I just haven't seen it. So definitely check out the premium plays. Appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to comment. I try to respond to a lot of it, but a lot's going on from a day-to-day standpoint. So really appreciate you guys watching this. Again, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again.